Come in.
Hi, Dana Larson.
That's me.
Hi, so nice to meet you. I'm Monde with
Hey,
3M. Do you mind if I
Have a
take a seat?
seat, sure.
Thank you so much. Now, we originally scheduled our meeting for 15 minutes. Is that still okay with you?
Let's do it.
All right,
Let's
nice.
do it. Where's Chuck though? I gotta ask, where's my man Chuck?
Chuck. Oh, I'm sorry. I was unaware of Chuck, who is...
You don't know Chuck?
I do not, no.
Okay. Okay.
Would it be more comfortable if Chuck was here with us today?
It would be, but he's not here, so I
Okay.
guess you take from there. I mean, Chuck knows everything.
Okay. Do you mind me asking who Chuck is? So I can get
He's
more...
works with 3M.
Oh, okay.
He knows everything about everyone and everything.
Okay.
Related to 3M.
Well, I just want to assure you that I am trained in 3M knowledge and industry knowledge, so I could really be of help for you if you allow me to. Does
Sure.
that sound good?
Sure.
Okay. I have my business card with me
Okay.
here, if you'd like.
Sure.
Do you have one for me too
Yeah,
as
I'll
well?
give you one. How's your day going?
Pretty good. Thank you for asking. Okay. But I have a funny story to tell you, kind of ironic. When I was in college, I probably switched my major 3 to 5 times, like the normal college student does.
Is that normal these days?
Yes, it is. Like
Okay.
probably, I think the average is like 10 maybe.
No.
I'd be surprised.
Okay.
But could you guess what my first major was?
Accounting.
No, it was not. It has a lot to do with what your position is.
Engineering.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I was an engineer major my first 3 semesters in college. I did mechanical engineering. But I remember my freshman year, I was in this first year engineering lab. So we did many projects in different engineering fields. And I have a picture here with me today. It's one of our projects that we did. We had to take like pipelines and use them as try to get this water from a reservoir as quick as possible to this bucket, so as quick as possible. And it really got me thinking, like when Casey Mitchell contacted me to come here and talk to you about your washing machines, I was really excited because I know that this simple project had a lot of challenges that we had to face and really get our finished project done. So I cannot imagine how many challenges you must have when designing these beautiful washing machines to get out onto the market.
Yes.
So I brought with me here my own little blueprint.
Sure.
It's not as up to your engineering standards, I'm sure, but this is going to help me walk me through our meeting and try to discover if there are any opportunities that 3M can help Crestfield in.
Sure.
Does that sound like a plan?
Sure.
All right, perfect. So is there anyone else who needs to be with us at this meeting?
I don't know if I needs to be here, but you know, today we're just having a conversation.
Okay, perfect.
If all goes well, then we can talk about Alex potentially. Alex is, hey, I'm an engineer. Alex is the production manager.
Okay.
So they're the ones that sign off on things more important than me.
Okay. And when someone approaches you with a new product or service, how long does that typically take for you to implement it if you really like what you see?
It's really less about me. I'm the tactical guy.
Okay.
All the other stuff is that's an Alex question.
Okay, gotcha. And is there any specific criteria that you look for in that product or service that really catches your attention and makes you like this?
In terms of the vendor or the actual product itself?
The actual product itself, but also the vendor too, if you're looking at that as well.
Yeah, mega functional has to be. I'm all about the function. You know, even some engineers focus on the vanity, how things look. I'm more on function than anything else.
Okay, all right. Well, can you start off, Dana, by telling me what your day-to-day role is here at Crestfield?
It's all about idea generation, ideation, yeah, brainstorming, and then coming up with ways to make those ideas practical. So, you know, our thought process here, or our philosophy, is to not come up with such outlandish ideas to where we can't turn those things into a practical product.
Okay.
So it's all about making it practical, reliable.
Cool. And I know Crestfield produces premier washing machines for their customers. What qualities in your machines would you say your customers are aware of that makes them know that they're premier and really want to purchase them?
Well, we stand by them. That's one. I mean, the fact that we don't have as many failures that happen outside of our building as we do inside of our building, which speaks to how durable the products are. So we go through a very rigorous testing inside.
Now, I brought with me your blueprints of your machines. Could you tell me if you have any goals or improvements that you'd like to see happen within the next year?
Yeah. So in terms of construction of the product, we're definitely trying to go to a more unibody construction. what that means to you is instead of having so many different components being fastened together, we're really trying to focus on having one unit be made.
One unit.
One unit, yes. And when I say one unit, meaning literally, it all be one unit.
Okay.
And again, the term we use is unibody construction.
Unibody construction, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way that you're thinking about making that so far? Have you thought of any ideas of making that unibody product?
Yeah, we got some ideas. Too early to mention at this time, but we have some ideas we're working on. That's one. The other is in terms of innovation is trying to incorporate some of the artificial intelligence that's out there, predictive intuitive machines. For example, trying to right now working on a beta program to strap an Amazon Echo Dot to a machine and just speak to it in terms of what you want it to do and have the machine follow command.
Okay.
And then wash your clothes.
That's a really good idea. I like that.
It's a beta. It's just something. It won't be released to market right now. But if we can get away from having as many buttons and just be able to be more intuitive and just speak to the machine, that works out.
Alrighty. And based on your blueprint, I see that you are just using mechanical fasteners and a liquid adhesive for your control panel. Are those the only two methods of adhesion are you using?
Yeah, I would say that.
So you're telling me that you're looking to not have as many buttons on the machine. Has there been any issues in the past with buttons falling off, or?
I mean, it's just more opportunity for failure when you have more buttons. So, I mean, the history of the washing machine is it was a knob, it might have been two knobs with a button. And then as time has gone on, we got more and more and more and more buttons. It looks like a keyboard at this point, as opposed to a washing machine. So I like to get to the point where we can just speak to it, and anything you want it to do with it, it'll do. And that's less. So we're going back, less buttons.
Would you say that also has to do with the appearance of the machine as well?
Sure.
Is that something that you hear from your customers often, that they just want?
I don't hear from customers at all. I mean, I'm an engineer. I just take orders and try to come up with ideas to problem solve and execute. Maybe the sales folks do. Maybe customer service does.
Now, do you ever experience your machines having any leakages from using the mechanical fasteners? If there's any problems with the bonding these three
types of materials?
Yes, the three materials. You have rubber, plastic, and aluminum sheets.
Right.
Are there any problems with bonding those materials at all?
So the term we use is fastening, because but there is one issue between plastic and the metal. When using the bolts to fasten these two materials together, there are times where the machinery that we use to bolt it down, it's over torqued, and when it's over torqued, the plastic splits in some areas, which is definitely a failure in terms of manufacturing. Our current trend right now in terms of defects is about 5%.
5%. How much would you say that cost your company to get the new plastic that's been?
I wish I could tell you. I wish I could tell you. Again, that's a department. That's probably Alex might know that. He's production manager, so they know what materials cost and such. I'm more so execution guy, just get it done.
Gotcha. Well, I have one question for you.
Sure.
If when you bring a design to your boss to get approved at all, is that one thing that comes up recently? Is just failure within the assembly process?
Always comes up. Yeah. Because that's considered a loss.
Right.
And so even from an engineering standpoint, I understand, even though I'm not on the money side of things, I understand that our machine's not supposed to do that.
Right.
So I'm trying to find a way to fix that. But 5%, in the scheme of things, it's not that bad, but it's still considered a loss. It's waste.
Might there be any other reasons that your design might be disapproved before it gets onto the assembly line?
Not that I can say at this time.
So I know you don't hear back from your customers, but when you're doing—
Well, I don't.
Correct. Yeah. Yes, you do not personally, but you do say you do a lot of tests here at your company. Are there any issues with vibration at all when they're testing your washing machines during the usage of it?
I mean, they're within normal limits, I believe. Yeah.
Now, for the AI, well, you're considering putting on an AI and attaching it into this machine.
Right.
Do you know which ways that you possibly want to attach it onto there, or the methods that you're looking at?
I mean, right now it's just strapping it on and see how it's again beta, it's totally beta. We wouldn't release it that way, but I think the long term, if it works out well, would be to embed one within the machine.
Okay.
So right now it's just strapping one on, I guess, stick it on some kind of way, glue it on or something.
And right now for the control panel, I understand you're using this liquid adhesive.
Yes.
Is that very reliable for you at the moment?
I mean, it's not a weight bearing, piece of componentry, so it's not an issue at this time, at least in my opinion.
Okay. So far, what I'm gathering from our meeting right now is that the biggest thing that you're really paying attention to and want to have resolved is this 5% turn or failure rate of
Right. In the manufacturing process,
in the manufacturing process. And that right there once that's resolved, that could be a huge burden off of the company, because I know 5% might be a small number, but that could, in terms of cost, be a lot for the company.
Take of it, yeah.
Right. So if I could show you a product that could really help improve that 5% and bring it down to 0%, would you be willing to, or interested to hear more about it?
Yeah, that's what you're here.
Right? Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Well, the product I have for you today is our 3M VHB tape. It stands for very high bondage. Have you ever heard of 3M VHB tape before?
I have. Yeah. Right?
Okay. Well, have you considered it at all for I know when engineers hear tape, they're a little skeptical because they're not sure if.
Yeah, I know where you're going with that. I have no opinion at this time in terms of VHB tape.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to show you that our tape is very strong, and it's not going to cause the tears that your plastics are receiving when you're trying to bond it through the mechanical fasteners.
Sure.
Okay. So here's a little demonstration I have for you. Us at the company, at our offices, we really try to just pull this apart. So if you could do me a favor and try to pull that apart.
Okay. And what am I, this is the tape in?
Yes, the tape is in the middle.
Yeah, it's strong.
See how strong it is?
Yeah, it's very strong.
Right? Do you want to try a little tug of war action? See it?
No.
All right. So that right there, in and of itself, the tape, it's a double acrylic adhesive tape. So it's really strong, durable. And that's really going to keep that plastic from tearing in between. And I know sometimes, because those materials are different, that could cause the wear and tear for that product or the plastic to tear apart. So I have for you here is a metal sheet.
Okay.
And then right here's a plastic one. If you just want to pull that apart, and then place this on top.
Sure.
You see that it's just.
Yeah, it's very firm.
Very firm, right? And also I wanted to point out that that took 5 seconds alone just to put it on. And I know you also said, in order for your company to really like a product, that you really want it to be functional and easy to apply. So that took 5 seconds, and on average, it takes about 15 seconds for one roll of tape to be applied to.
Gotcha.
Right. But also, our tape, because it is tape and it spreads across the length of the bonding area, it does absorb that wear and tear, the vibration or the stresses that occur that mechanical fasteners cannot take, because mechanical fasteners, they apply that stress upon one point of contact.
Correct.
So the tape, it spreads that across the whole entire load. And so it creates the bonding surface very strong, like it makes it very strong.
Sure.
So do you see how basically this tape can really help lower that 5% to basically 0%?
I can see the potential for
the potential. Right. Do you have any
I got thoughts in terms of, you talk pretty heavily in regards to VHB tape. How does that compare against maybe competitors like Bow? What's the name of the company? Bow? Yes. Yeah, how does something like this compare to something that they might offer?
Have you considered Bow and Tessa before?
It came up when I agreed to this meeting here, so I wanted to see if you could volunteer any information related to Bow.
Absolutely. Well, I do have a couple of testimonials, if you'd like, that we did have a couple customers of us previously from Bow and Tessa, and they realized that maybe those tapes weren't as reliable and long-lasting. So I have a couple testimonials I can have for you here.
So these are current 3M customers that used to be with
Yes,
Okay.
yes, so I could leave this here for you later,
Sure.
but I realized,
That's fast.
oh, wow, okay.
Did you have the time up?
I did, I didn't even realize.
We had so many things going on in the science
I
project.
know.
Sorry.